Hi, my name is Amy Haley. I teach pre-AP and AP biology at James Clemens High School, and I'm going to be walking you guys through the calorie content PowerPoint that goes along with our combustion lab. Now, generally, this would fit in a bunch of different places in your curriculum. It's just kind of up to you as to where you would like to include it. I have found that it works really well either immediately after you go through the macromolecules or after you've gone through the process of aerobic respiration and you want to revisit and link up macromolecules with some of the stuff that you're going to be talking about with the human body system. Now, I start this lab out with all the materials out and ready for the students, and then we start talking about why they have to eat, where their energy is actually going to come from on a day-to-day basis. And we discuss the fact that the food that they take in ultimately supports the production of ATP and energy through that process of cellular respiration. And we already would have gone through the entire length of the cellular respiration process at this point in my classroom. We would have talked about all of the pieces of aerobic respiration, including all of those steps, why we need the oxygen, where the carbon dioxide comes from, why you make the water, all of that stuff. Now, once the students have got a good foundation in that, we can start bringing in the idea of some items being better sources of energy than others to put into that pathway. So some of the food that the students eat includes glucose, which is generally what we teach the kids goes into this process. Much of the rest of the food that they take in is used to produce ATP through alternative inputs into the same pathway. We get the same products, but you don't have to start with just glucose, with just that simple carbohydrate. So we're going to take and complete this lab today and start looking at what happens when we put other forms of macromolecules into this metabolic system. Now, how much glucose and other nutrients that a person or an animal takes in actually determines how much energy it has to support all of the challenges that it's faced with. You need more energy on a daily basis if you expend more energy on a daily basis. Organisms that don't use a lot of energy are going to require a lower input, and that should make total sense to kids. That's very logical in nature. Each food item that we consume has an energy content, and we measure that energy content in calories. Quantifying that energy content allows us to sort of place a value of that food item in supporting this process of ATP production, which supports all the physiological processes that happen inside of our body. So generally, the higher the calories, the better an object of food is as far as the amount of energy that it contains. So you can kind of start a discussion here and go back and forth with the kids. Are high calorie nutrients good for us to eat every single meal of the day as our lifestyle as human beings? Evolutionarily, what did that look like? Where did we get to this particular portion where we have all these high energy foods that we still need, or maybe that we don't need anymore? That's a really interesting conversation that I like to have with the kids, either before or after, even during the lab, so that they can really start to think about linking up some evolution with these different concepts. Now, one thing that I have found that students really don't understand is the idea of a calorie. Calorie content of a food item is its energy content, but specifically it's heat. You're measuring the amount of energy, the amount of heat energy that it takes to raise 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius. Now that's lowercase c calorie, and whenever we look at the nutrition facts labels on the back of our foods, we look at uppercase C, capital C calories, and those are kilocalories. That's 1,000 little calories. So you're looking at 1,000 grams of water, 1 degree Celsius, when you're talking about a big C, a kilocalorie. So at this point in the lab, I like to bring in different kinds of foods with nutrition facts on the back of the food labels or on the back of the food packaging, and allow the students to kind of compare. What do you feel like is going to give you the best bang for your buck? Which of these energy, nutrient, resource vessels, these food items, is going to result in your body working as efficiently as possible and gaining the most out of that cellular respiration process? So they really have to consider more than just the calories. That gets them started talking about the macromolecules involved. Does it need to have a high fat content? Does it need to have a high protein content? Are sugars the best thing for you to have if you're really looking for that energy input and the biggest bang for your buck, as we would say? And then once they've had a chance to kind of rank those different items and talk about that, then we start bringing back in those carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. They should have already learned that they're all these macronutrients, excuse me, these major biological molecules that all organisms are made of. This is where I introduced the fact that these do vary in energy content per unit of mass, and then I refer them to that reading, and they would have completed that literacy before they started this entire process, going through this PowerPoint and getting ready to complete this lab activity. So based on the reading, which macronutrient has the highest energy content per gram of food, I'm going to leave that up to you guys. It is a fun conversation to have with the kids, and I make them reference where they found it in that literacy page. The energy content of food is measured by heat. We talked about that before, that a calorie is actually a measure of heat. So which item, based on their reading, is going to have the highest amount of energy per gram? They have chicken, marshmallow, and then butter, which is what you see over here to the side. At least, yes, it is butter. We've gone back and forth about whether that's butter or cheese, but it is butter that's listed there. That's our high lipid content that we're looking at. Now, as you can see, that's the end of the slideshow. So this is really where you can kind of take this activity and make it your own. You can start giving the kids different opportunities to explore. You can have them try to design a calorimeter. You can use the standard calorimeter setup that we showed to you. There are lots of versions of this lab on the internet, and there's lots of ways to customize it so that it'll fit your students and it'll fit your classroom. We do strongly encourage you to complete this lab because of several reasons. One, it's a really great lab. The kids love it. They're invested in it. They learn from it. But also it links up the idea of chemistry with biology. And chemistry is something that the kids are going to take if they haven't already had an opportunity to expose to that so far in their educational career. It's definitely something that we want them to associate with biology because all of those sciences are going to work together. They're all going to be giving us a better idea of how we function as living organisms. So again, it's just a real basic introduction, talking about calories, talking about the different macromolecules and their energy content as measured in calories, and then encouraging students to test those different types of energy contents by testing those different kinds of food. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We would love to talk to you. We are so excited about what you're doing in your classrooms, and we just thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share these resources with you. Thanks.